everyone, and welcome to another video. So today we're going to talk about the worst books that I read in 2024. There's actually not a lot. I've had a really good reading year, and really, all of these books weren't terrible. I didn't DNF any of them, or they weren't. I think only one got a 2-star. Everything else was more 3.75. Not that these were by any means terrible books. It's just they didn't fully work for me like the other books that I read. So without further ado, let's begin. So my first worst book of 2024, and some people are probably going to get mad at me for saying this because I know people who love this series absolutely love it. But just book 7 was way too much for me. And so that's where I could not finish the series. I just couldn't do it. And that was Heartless Sky, book 7 in the Zodiac Academy series. Now, 1 through 6 was really, really good, okay? My problem was there was a lot of things in here that I just couldn't get behind. Also, the graphic writing kind of did me in a little bit for some things. I can only do so much. I mean, the spice in this was over 10, and that's where I had to draw the line, because there was spice that no, I couldn't. Me personally, I could not do it. There was just too much going on, not enough plot for me. And to be quite honest, as the series progressed, it got more that way, but there was still good plot that I could just get through, but the problem was this book. I couldn't do it. I finished it. There's a lot of parts in it that I started to read and then had to skip, which didn't matter because it really wasn't important to the book at all. But yeah, this one was probably my worst one. Yeah, and I didn't want to read 8 and I didn't want to read 9. So I looked it up online on how it ended, because I couldn't do it. I don't know. Way too spicy for me. Way too much spice. My amount of spice is Akatar, Sarah J. Maas spice. I can handle maybe a little bit more, but nothing like this. This was out of my limit, and me personally, I couldn't do it. So take with that what you will. The next book that I want to talk about is the second book in Harper L. Wood's duology. It's called The Curse. This duology is a dark fantasy romance. It takes place in normal modern day timing, but has witches and really demons, to be honest. So it's a dark paranormal fantasy romance. And the first book wasn't bad. The first book I enjoyed. The first book had some good plot points to it, along with an interesting romance. This one, though, literally just took it to the next level on the romance, which for me was a little bit too much. I could get through it because it wasn't anything like Zodiac Academy #7. But this one, I don't know. The plot also was kind of like, eh. I wish there was a little bit more to it. But then also, it kind of ended just like with some questions. And with those questions, it was like, I really want the answers to those. So this one was okay. It definitely was not a page turner because there was not really any plot. I did get through it fairly quickly just because like it is super short. I think this one and the first one are just over 200 pages. They're not long. So the pacing is very, very fast, which, I mean, I can understand with it being super short, but I don't know. I just wish there was a little bit more plot in this one and more of my questions answered instead of it just being, bleh, here it is. But oh wait, there's questions at the end that you're never going to get the answer to. So that one, that's what I really didn't like. And some of the spice was a little bit too much too for me. But other than that, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't good either. The next one is actually an Ali Hazelwood book, and it really surprised me because I love Ali Hazelwood, but this one is her fantasy debut. It's an adult paranormal romance between a vampire and a werewolf. And yeah, no, this one, I know reading Ali Hazelwood, you're not going to have any plot. I understand that. You read her for the romance. I just didn't connect with the romance. I don't know. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Also, there was something in it that I guess I just wasn't used to because I don't read a lot of paranormal romance. So there was that. I did do a review on this. So if you want to go check that out, you can. I will have it linked in the description. Kind of where I talk a little bit more about what I'm talking about right now. And the characters were good, but they weren't like fleshed out enough for me either, which, I mean, I'm being critical because Alexa, dismiss. I don't think I was as critical in my review, to be honest. But like, as I've sat on it, just, if you're gonna write a fantasy romance or paranormal romance or something, I want my characters fleshed out a little bit better because it's fantasy. But I guess I also am just like, I have to have a heavy plot driven book with a romance, not just major romance and then a plot, I think. And I don't know. There's a few exceptions to that. Obviously, Sarah J. Maas's ACOTAR. The Crescent City had more plot than the ACOTAR ones, but the ACOTAR has good plot. I don't know. Sarah J. Maas got spicy with Nesta and Cassian. And I don't know if that was intentional because of the characters or what it was. But there was definitely even in that one, there's more plot. So, I don't know. I'm a little critical when it comes to that, and so this one wasn't bad. Would I read it again? I'd probably read it again. But it just wasn't my favorite by her, and so that's why I'm putting it on the list. So, yeah. And again, there was a thing in here that I just wasn't used to. So, go check out my review and you'll know what I'm talking about. The next one is the third book in the Persephone and Hades saga by Scarlett St. Clair, and that is A Touch of Malice. So, this one just had too much romance, to be quite honest. There was definitely not enough plot. I need plot. I don't know how many times I have to say it, but I need plot. And this one just didn't have enough. Have I read the fourth one yet? No. That is on my list. I do need to read it. I need to get it done. Probably won't happen until 2025. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. I like it. I liked the plot parts. Just some of the romance parts were not needed, in my opinion. And that is why it is on this list. Which is very unfortunate, because I liked the other two. So I think that's why I've been pushing off the fourth one, is because of this one. Now it did end on a cliffhanger, but it wasn't as big of a cliffhanger for me to immediately read the fourth one when it came on my doorstep, which I believe was March, and it's December, so there's that. But yeah, I will read the fourth one to get it done. I think that's the last one. But yeah, there's not really a whole lot else I can say about it. It's just, it had some romance parts in it that, in my opinion, just weren't needed. And the last book, which is not a romance, fantasy romance, anything like that, is actually The Helsinki Affair by Anna Petoniak. I have it on the list because I didn't give it a 4 stars. I think I gave it like a 3.5 to 3.75 stars. The problem was with this one, I guessed the ending. And this one was the first book that I've read of something like this. It sounded really interesting, so I love watching anything that has to do with CIA, you know, detective kind of stuff, like on TV and stuff. But I've never read a book like that. And I'm like, well, I like shows and stuff like that, so why don't I read a book? And it was good. But I definitely guessed the ending. So I think that's why I'm putting it on the list. Writing wasn't bad. There was some spots that I just wasn't intrigued by. It didn't grip me as much as I thought it would. But yeah, there was a lot of like flashback stuff, which is good for, you know, to continue the plot, but I don't know. It wasn't the greatest. I don't even know if you would call it a thriller, because I don't know, it was just like a CIA detective mystery, possible terrorist attack kind of thing. It was good. Just wasn't great. And I was hoping for it to be great, and it didn't hit that bar. So that is why it is on this list. Well, friends, those are all the books that I considered my worst reads of 2024. Let me know in the comments below what your worst reads of 2024 are. I would absolutely love to know. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and be good people.
When you feel it's hopeless, when you think that you lost, oh, I will take your hand and we'll rise up from the dust.